Good evening, everyone. I am Supriya Rani, and I am the content head at ASDM Legal. ASDM Legal is a students-led organization driven by a motive to impart knowledge and to foster interest of students. The organization is established with an objective to give people. Sorry for the disturbance. The organization is established with an objective to give people that one bit of insight that they have always strived for. It tries to encourage students from different backgrounds to grow and excel mutually, even if they are not from renowned colleges. We are a team of students, academicians, and professionals with specialization in various fields. On behalf of our organization, I would like to thank everyone for joining us today on the eve of National Maritime Day. To begin with, I want to convey my heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Aishwarye Dubey sir and Ms. Pratikalpa Sharma ma'am for accepting the invitation and presiding over this webinar on future of maritime laws in India and professional opportunities available. Ms. Pratikalpa Sharma ma'am is an assistant professor at Gujarat National Law University. She is an ardent maritime law academician with an inclination for in-depth research in contemporary maritime topics. She has won accolades for her extensive research in the maritime domain and is a renowned expert on the International Maritime Organization 2020. Ma'am, I would like you to address the audience.
Good evening to one and all. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
All right. So, heartfelt welcome to this occasion. Actually, this is August gathering, we can say, because this is for maritime and this is our day. So we should celebrate it, and I should thank the ASDM legal team, Mr. Dhruv and his entire team for celebrating it in this way. I think this is a unique way. I have never seen any such event earlier. Last year we have never celebrated it like that. I think Aishwarye is also agreeing on that. So that's a good thing. Keep doing such things for maritime especially. Now, when the invite was there for this particular event, I was very much happy. Just to tell you one thing about one aspect of maritime legal education, but more than that, I was happy that I am going to address the legal minds actually who are there. The budding lawyers are there, and we in India we consider it as if the NLUs are at the epitome of the legal education. So I don't think so. This is the correct thing. Even though I'm working with a national law university, that is Gujarat National Law University, but still I consider that our traditional universities are also quite promising. And when it comes to the legal education, they are also great. But the thing is that they are confined to a particular field of or a particular domain of law, we can say, or there is a particular mindset which is there in legal academia. So yesterday only I had, day before yesterday, third, I have got an opportunity to address the gathering and for a presentation for an international conference where I was quite disheartened to see that people were not that much interested in maritime law when I was addressing the maritime legal education domain. So that is something which is alarming, which is still there. And when we are celebrating this day, I would say that there are two things which we have to look at whenever we are celebrating some occasion actually. So when it comes to maritime, we have to, this day particularly gives us the opportunity to look at the historical aspects, the glorious history we have, because of which we have got this day to celebrate, and the future ahead. So future is having two things. First one is the opportunities which are lying ahead in the future. And the second one is the challenges. So what are the challenges in terms of maritime legal education specifically? Because I'm going to talk about maritime legal education. I'm not going to talk about the technical aspect and other aspects of maritime, because they are being addressed by government quite nicely these days. They are establishing maritime clusters. Konkan cluster has been developed. Clusters are being established. So this is Sagarmala is also a project. Yeah, even though it's not working that well, but still. So they are trying, and there is a great maritime Indian maritime dream which is being flourished. So we have to contribute to it in terms of academia or the students, the scholars who are in the field of law. So my point of discussion is, okay, fine, we are since 60 years celebrating this National Maritime Day. So SS loyalty, and you read the history why we celebrate this day. So you will find that it's quite interesting how we give significance to the historical aspects and our glorious past. The thing is that when we celebrate this day, we need to look at how many of you, as of I think somebody is not on mute. So while we are looking at the audience, as told by the ASDM team, most of the participants are from law background. They are students, and they are not restricted to NLUs. They are from different educational institutions. I just wanted to ask all of you that how many of you are really willing to study maritime law as a subject? Right? Just think about it. Are you really willing to study this? Now you will be asking two questions in this regard. First one will be, do you have a proper understanding of this law? What is maritime law? The thing is that when I was studying in my master's from Symbiosis Law School, Pune, there was a subject, carriage of goods by sea, and that was a subject which is okay. Saswata is there. Okay, so yeah, Shashwat, we know you have completed your master's. So at that point of time, I was not aware that this subject, the multimodal transport, along with the carriage of goods by sea, this is a subject which is a part of maritime law, because nobody was there to teach us or to guide us what exactly maritime is. So it's a nascent, it's an actual nascent stage in legal field. The saddest thing about it is that our legal academia is somewhere quite hesitant or reluctant, or I don't know what the real feeling is about. They are being ignorant about this field. They don't want to accept it as an independent branch of law. When we go to the masters of different institutes, you look at the curriculum, you will understand that hardly any institute which is providing for maritime legal education as an independent domain. You can find out different institutes or colleges which are you can say established in the field of business and corporate laws, IP laws, or criminal laws, civil laws, constitutional laws. We hardly have any institute which is expert in this field or which is known for this field. We have, just to name a few, you can count on fingers. So I think one hand is also sufficient for that to count. So you can talk about Chennai Indian Maritime University, that is the central university. Then there is Gujarat Maritime University, which is established recently, and I had an opportunity to work with that, and I was a part of the academic council as a special invitee for that university. So while establishing that university, and also I got a privilege to work with other universities like Synthesis and Maharashtra National Law University, Mumbai, who are trying to establish courses for maritime. Recently, MNLU last year they have started with masters in LLM, masters in maritime law. So I salute such institutes who are really coming up with this subject as an independent domain. Generally, what happens when you see the curriculum of different institutes, they are providing for maritime law as a subject, but it is a part of either public international law or private international law or business and corporate laws or some other laws like international trade law or something like that. So my point, I used to argue on that. Why can't this domain stand out alone, a separate individual? The thing is that see, you all are legal brains, so you know law very much. You know the law in depth, right? So if we talk about law of contract, law of contract is very much there. The basis of shipping agreements is contract only. If you know law of contract, you will be understanding maritime law in a very effective manner. Then law of torts. You must be aware of law of torts. Yeah, it's a comfortable subject. It's a nice subject, an easy one. All the principles of law of torts, like 3 things are there. So these things are also available there in maritime as well. When we are talking about negligence, when we are talking about collision, ship collision, law of torts is very much there. It is the basis. You have to understand the basis of it, and then you can build up the knowledge on maritime. Then when we talk about property laws, what is a ship? Ship is a property, right? So property laws, when we are talking about ship mortgage, lien, all the aspects are dealing with the basic principles of property laws. We all know that, correct? Then when we are talking about civil laws, they are very much applicable. Criminal laws, they are also there. Piracy, what is it? Piracy, it was considered as a crime only, no? Now we have an act also for that. So public international aspects, if you are thinking about, so maritime zones, the jurisdictional aspects, what is that? The dealing of international conventions, what is that? That is public international law, correct? Then when we are talking about private international law aspects, or we talk about conflict of laws, that is also there. When we deal with the contracts, when we deal with the arbitration, when we deal with the jurisdictional aspects, it's very much there, correct? So don't be hesitate in studying this subject as if it is an alien subject and we cannot understand it. I am here just to remove that fear or that hesitation which is there in all minds which are sitting there. I can see that there are many students who are coming to GNLU as well, who were then in GMU as well. The understanding of this subject and linkage between law and the maritime is missing, and nobody is there to guide them for that. So that is not good. That is actually not good. So when we talk about the law students who have completed their BA LLB, BSc LLB, or the graduation, undergraduation level of study, they will definitely be able to understand this subject a better way. And this is not very difficult to understand that the academic field is lagging behind in terms of maritime legal education because of 3-4 reasons, major reasons. First one is the students are not that much interested. What are the reasons behind that? Because they are not aware what is maritime. If they know what is maritime, they will think about it. Another aspect about it all depends upon the demand and supply rule. So if you have the job opportunities there in the field of maritime, they will definitely come to study the subject. Correct. So that is also not there. The awareness about the opportunities which are lying there. And Mr. Aishwarye Dubey sir is sitting there. He will tell you how lucrative this field is. But students are not aware of this thing. And that's why they are running behind the corporate laws or the IPR field or the other aspects of laws, because they are running behind the jobs. They don't want to become the judge, correct? Most of them are not willing to become the judge. In NLUs, this is the condition. So the percentage is really very low when it comes to the students from NLU who are becoming the judge. Right? They are behind corporate jobs to settle a job quickly. So when you are looking forward to these jobs, maritime is a good option. There are different institutes which are providing for the legal education, Indian as well as international. But the international education system is quite expensive for normal Indian students, we can say. So quite heavy on pocket. So that is unaffordable, we can say, for a normal Indian scholar or student. So think about Indian institutes. They are providing for legal education in maritime. Opt for the subjects. And when you have a specialized knowledge about this subject, you will be appreciated a lot, because there is we can say there is a lack of the professionals who do maritime legal aspects specifically. They are experts in technical aspects. In IMU Chennai, what is happening? They are teaching the technical aspects, the engineering aspects, the nautical engineering, all these things, marine sciences, all that. But they are not experts in maritime law per se. So utilize this and become a maritime lawyer. You can become an arbitrator, right? You can become a freight forwarder. Train yourself likewise. There are so many avenues which are there in maritime. It's a vast field, ocean of opportunities are there. You have to just find out. But firstly, you have to opt for a particular course and study this subject. So this is my urge on this National Maritime Foundation Day, because India being situated and our geographical condition is such that it's a peninsular sort of a condition. So when we cannot afford to ignore the sea, we should not do that. This will be a blunder. And without a strong, effective legal system, we cannot become a maritime superpower. And for making law strong, what we require legal brains, trained legal people. So try to train yourself. I am here just to motivate you. Opt for the subject. This is a wonderful subject, and hopefully we will be looking at the future where India is becoming a maritime superpower. The irony is that Aishwarye sir is there. He will tell you how we are dealing with laws these days. Our laws are still in colonial era. They are standing in that era only, because we are not holding their hands. Come in this era, digitalized world is there. What about bill of lading? Bill of lading is a document which is very significant document in maritime, in shipping per se. So when we are dealing with this subject, bill of lading is on paper since ages. Electronic bill of lading, we cannot manage with that properly. there are so many issues in evidential aspects are also there. Then when we are talking about blockchain, are we doing justice with the shipping field without upgrading our Bill of Lading Act? So these are certain questions which we need to ask to upgrade ourselves, because law cannot be static. It has to move with the time. And for that, we need to have the students, the academia to be trained consistently. And with the changing time, we have to study that. We have to understand the challenges. That's why I pointed out that this is the day when we can think of two aspects. First one is a glorious history, which is there. The past was very real, very glorious actually. Rashtrakutan, Chol, Cher, Pandya, all were having a maritime there. Strong navy was there. Then Shivaji was also in picture. So the nation who had the command over the sea, or the civilization who had the command over the sea, that particular civilization flourished. And if we are ignoring it, we are not doing justice to our coming generations. So study this subject. This is a wonderful subject. I think my time is getting over. Just 2-3 minutes I am having, I guess. So I would like to say that maritime academia is one thing. Another thing is that which is equally related to maritime academia, that is maritime research, maritime legal research per se. As a student, if you are studying in BSc LLB or BCom LLB, BA LLB, whatever domain you are doing for, you can still contribute to the maritime field. How? If you are doing public international law somewhere, you can work upon some good research work on public international law aspects or law of the sea aspects. You can do good research work. Now, everything needs the perspective. You need to have that perspective. And for developing that perspective, you need to have a proper motivation towards the subject, an interest, self-driven interest should be there. For example, I'll give you just one example. How can you connect to maritime? Because I think that way only. Whatever comes, I take it to maritime only. Now I'm talking about COVID situation. I gave this example earlier in NLE Odisha event also. See, when we talk about this COVID situation, how can you connect it to maritime? I'll give you just 3 examples. Now this COVID is every now and then, every 20 minutes, you have to wash your hands. Guidelines are there. You have to use sanitizers. You have to use this PPE kit and gloves and all these things. First aspect, marine pollution, where all this garbage, all these what you call soap particles will go. Ultimately, they may be dumped into the sea. Correct? What will be affected by that? This is also an aspect of maritime. You can study it, how much it is impacting all these things. Another aspect is the production and transportation. So while producing these things from another country, we cannot produce it. Earlier, it was a situation we could not produce so many PPE kits. We had to borrow them, or we had to bring them from outside. So what is the cheapest mode for that? For carrying all these goods? Through ships only. Shipping is the mode through which we are having our most of the transport. Whatever we are utilizing these days, we are getting it through shipping because it is the cheapest mode available. So now these are the aspects when you can look at. Now another aspect was the seafarers aspect. During the COVID times, you must have heard about it. That many seafarers were trapped on the ship. So what are the labor law aspects related to that? Right. So as a researcher, you have to develop a perspective. Then you can look at such a certain situation and you can deal with it accordingly, and you can contribute to through a policy research. And you can suggest your conclusion and recommendations to any authority which is working in this field. So I'm just concluding my time is over, I guess. So yes. Okay, so I would like to conclude my talk with this, that in India it's still in nascent stage, maritime legislation, but still we have the zeal, and there are a handful of people, but they are very enthusiastic about it, and they will do great in future. I'm very much hopeful for that, and I would just say कि कौन कहता है आसमान में सुराख नहीं हो सकता, एक पत्थर तो तबीयत से उठा लो यारो. With this, I'd like to conclude, and thank you for inviting.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for extensively elaborating on maritime and law. It was thoroughly amazing knowing about all the aspects of the maritime SHIMU. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There's an announcement for the audience that you may keep your questions ready. We'll take them up at the end of the session. Moving forward, we have Aishwarye sir. He's an alumnus of NLU Orissa and has completed his LLM in Maritime Laws from Gujarat National Law University. Sir has worked in Maersk Line, which is the world leader in containerized shipping. Besides, Sir specializes in the law of naval warfare, the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, international humanitarian law, amongst others. I would like to welcome Sir to share his words of knowledge.
Thank you so much, ASDM Legal. I would take this opportunity to, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Yeah, great. So let me first begin by thanking ASDM Legal for inviting me on this auspicious day. We are celebrating the National Maritime Day. And on this occasion, let me now enlighten you about what are the opportunities that exist in this sector. Now that Pratikalpa ma'am has already motivated all of you. Now let me tell you what are the opportunities. So shipping or maritime fraternity as of now is divided into two aspects. One, private international maritime law. Two, public international maritime law. I personally have been trained in commercial aspects of maritime law while I was completing my LLM. So while I was studying, there are two aspects of private international maritime law, wherein the student, and now I'm talking from a student perspective, wherein you can increase your employability in this sector. So private international maritime law is divided into dry shipping and wet shipping. When we talk about dry shipping, we have cargo damage. You might have seen certain containers. Some of you might be living near the coast or even inland within landlocked states. You might have come across containers, and those containers contain cargo, everything, right from Mai Tai to even the fruit juice that you're drinking, comes through the sea, as rightly pointed out by ma'am. 90% of world trade comes through the sea. It is the cheapest mode, but it also has certain maritime implications, certain climatic implications, which we'll talk about later. So while I was talking about containerized shipping, it has aspects of dry shipping, which contain marine insurance claims, which contain cargo damage claims, which contain a lot of other problems that come up, wherein maritime law students and maritime legal practitioners can really cash on them. That's one. Second, when we talk about wet shipping by the term itself maintains that it has certain claims which come in the sea itself. That is salvage, by towage, pilotage. What are these things? Salvage by the understanding of the term itself means you help someone who is stranded or who needs help into the sea while that ship is stranded into the sea. You might have come across the very recent example of the Suez Canal crisis. Now, what was that? That was a crisis of wet shipping, wherein the evergreen ship, which was known as Ever Given, was salvaged. It was stuck into in the Suez Canal, and it blocked huge amount of cargo that was coming in through the Red Sea and going towards Europe. So that is one crisis which we have witnessed very, very recently. That comes within the domain of wet shipping. When we talk about other aspects of wet shipping, there are collisions wherein two ships collide, or two vessels collide. Any kind of collision that happens in the maritime arena, in the sea or the ocean, they come within the aspect of wet shipping. So all these claims, all these legal problems that come up, that is where all of us, that is the maritime lawyers, the young lawyers who are wanting to make a career in the field, can really encash upon. Now, you might be thinking, what are the opportunities? Where can we know about all these courses? As pointed out by Pratikalpa ma'am, there are certain universities within India, and there are also universities outside as well. When we talk about the Indian universities, you have Gujarat National Law University, you have Symbiosis Law School, you have Indian Maritime University. Now the course is not there anymore, but still you can give it a try. Maybe they might launch this year. And MNLU, Maharashtra National Law University, if you wish to complete your master's. All these universities are there. However, it's your call whether or not you wish to take a jump into this arena. When we talk about undergraduate courses, as of now, there are no very specializing papers in this arena. However, different universities are coming up with this subject itself, that is maritime law. Also, when we talk about other aspects in abroad, other opportunities in abroad, so you have the World Maritime University, you have the Lloyd's Maritime Academy, you have NUS Singapore, you have universities in UK, wherein you can pursue your maritime law courses. Swansea is there, Southampton is there. So all these places are the universities wherein you can pursue a very specialized course in maritime law. That is regarding to maritime legal education. Now, currently we are stuck in a COVID situation. People are not going anywhere. So what is the best option that we have if you want to make a career in maritime legal field? What you can do is you can pursue a PG diploma or a specialized course through the distance learning mode. There are institutions such as the Lloyd's Maritime Academy, the World Maritime University, who offer specialized, very specialized courses through distance learning mode. So you can apply for it. And in India, you have NALSAR, that is NLU Hyderabad, which offers a PG diploma course in maritime law itself. So that is regarding the legal education that you can pursue. Now let's talk about your employability. When we talk about employability, while you are pursuing any kind of course, it is always recommended that you go for an internship in a maritime law firm or under a maritime lawyer or a shipping company. These three arenas will really give you a hands-on experience of this whole fraternity. While I can tell you about myself, I was working in Maersk Line as an intern in their legal department. I had already practiced law for 3 years before I took up LLM in maritime laws. So when I entered into this arena, it was very new for me. It had a vocabulary of its own. It had very certain specific words. However, the basic nuances are the same. Law of torts, law of contracts, law of crimes, all these, if you have a mastery of just two of them, law of torts and law of crimes, law of torts and law of contracts, you can really make a very good career for yourself in this arena. So employability options, you have shipping companies such as Maersk Line, Mediterranean Shipping Company, MSC is there, Hapag-Lloyd is there. So these companies are usually based in the coastal cities, that is Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, and all the coastal states, right? That's one. When we talk about maritime litigation, now this is a very crucial aspect, because now within some years' time, you will see very specialized judges in the maritime litigation arena. Why I say so? Because of the simple fact that Admiralty Act of 2017 is already in effect. It was put into effect in 2018, which gave coastal jurisdiction to all the 9 states that we have, all the 9 coastal states. So if you want to practice law, you can certainly do that in all the high courts located in the coastal states. That is second. So if you want to make corporate maritime career, you can join shipping companies, as I already mentioned. You can join NVOCC, right? They are freight forwarders. Then you have charterers. You have shipbrokers. If you want to write it down, you can please write it down. Shipbrokers, charterers, freight forwarders, and even, let me tell you, even the big companies such as, I don't want to name them any further, but any person, any export house or any kind of big firm such as an MNC will certainly have an export component within their own industry, in their company. That export is controlled by maritime shipping and maritime logistics, maritime multimodal transportation, and all these things are put into effect.
Huh?
Each and every aspect. I beg your pardon? Someone. All right. So what I was saying is, these export houses, these big names in the country, they will export and import stuff. They will engage in maritime trade. And that is where you can gain employability. The only crucial aspect is you should be either qualified in maritime law or you should have some amount of experience. And how can you gain experience? You can approach maritime law firms. You can approach maritime lawyers, shipping companies. But the big question is, how will they take you? What is the one thing that they will see in you? That thing is your knowledge. There are certain free websites wherein you can go, check, and gain knowledge. But you should be very certain that you are absolutely true and proper with the knowledge that you are obtaining from such websites, right? Now let me tell you about what a student expects either from a private law school or a government law college, any place. We expect that when we are putting so much amount of money in our education, we should get employed. Let me tell you, the one thing that you need to understand is this: the right connection and the right knowledge will fetch you jobs. This maritime arena is a very closely knit arena. It's a very closely knit industry. Almost each one of us knows the other. So that is how it functions. You must first have knowledge. You must have understanding, basic understanding of maritime law and maritime operations, which you can certainly get. And when we talk about maritime research, maritime academia, you have certain think tanks such as the National Maritime Foundation, my own institution. We engage in a lot of policy making, a lot of research, a lot of advocacy, so to speak, wherein we, on certain occasions, advise the government or government bodies or different institutions within the government itself and as well as abroad. We engage on an international basis. So that is how the maritime academia functions. If you wish to make a career in maritime academia vis-a-vis universities, certainly there are options, as I already told you. As I've already told you about Gujarat National University, different other universities wherein you can pursue your LLM, and subsequently you can join maritime academics as a teaching fellow, as a person who wants to teach, who wants to help the industry grow. Because right now, let me tell you, we do not have maritime teachers as of now, maritime law teachers. It's a very, very lucrative arena, let me tell you, in terms of monetary aspect. Secondly, there's closely, or virtually I should say, there's virtually no competition. If you want to make a mark, you can certainly make a mark. If you have that knack, that yes, I have to do something different, this is your calling, right? So that is how you can bloom, you can flourish, you can prosper. And with these words, now let's open the house for questions, because the more questions, the more the doubts, we can certainly address them. And that is how we can engage with the students and the audience better. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a wonderful talk and profoundly informative. Thank you so much. So now we have the floor open for the questions. Participants may kindly raise their hand, and later, once your name is called upon, you may unmute and ask the question or post the question in the chat box.
I think there are certain questions in the chat box already, I guess.
Yes, ma'am.
Supriya, you can just read out the questions one by
Yeah.
one, and
Okay.
then I think sir and ma'am will address the questions. We can proceed like that.
Okay,
Read the
sure.
questions one by one.
There's a question from Anubhav Garg. He has asked, ma'am, what about students coming from the shipping background? I'm a marine engineer. How well can us relate to the field of maritime law, having no previous experience in the law sector?
Okay. So a good question. Yeah, you can also. Just 2-3 lines I would like to mention about it. After that, you please take over that. The thing is that this is a very good question actually. Who asked this? He himself is a marine engineer or engineer.
Yeah, he's a marine engineer. His name is Anubhav Garg.
Anubhav Garg. Okay, so Mr. Anubhav, you are not the only one who is asking this question. When I was working with naval officers here, recently we have signed an MOU and we are teaching naval officers here. They are staying in the campus, and for 4 months they are opting for a course, and we are teaching them maritime. So the DG level officers, they were there, and they used to ask commander, lieutenant commander, even commodore level people. They used to ask the same question. We are not trained lawyers, or we are not having any experience in law, but we want to do something in maritime law. So that question triggered this thing, and we had an MOU with a naval officer, and now we are teaching them. Another thing is that Gujarat Maritime University, when it came into the picture, when the establishment was in process, I was a part of it for establishing the academics, the library, and all these things. So when we were dealing with this thing, the syllabus and the mode of the course, how it should go about. So we had this thing in our mind that the officers which are merchant navy officers, the engineers, marine engineers, they really want to learn law. They want to do something in maritime law per se. Now, why I'm considering it as a good question? Because I call the practitioners who have the knowledge in practice of maritime or shipping, say for master mariners, right? They have the knowledge of the field. In law, they don't have any exposure. We know the law. But maritime is such a technical field where we need the experts who are a combination of both these areas. So the practical aspect, the field experience plus the law. And I call it as a rare species. We hardly have, we can count on again fingers, the people who are trained in law and they are also having the experience in field. Hardly anybody is there. So that was the point when we started the course, and it was suggested by the former PC that we can have the course in such a way where the professionals can come without having a law degree. And this was the idea. It is still somewhere there, but it's not working that well. The reasons are that faculties are not there to teach. That is a big issue. So few things are also there, but we have to have the proper motivation and zeal to do this. Now, when you're talking about being an expert, I would say when I was talking all this, the 50% I told that you already know, that is maritime law. So law you know, maritime you have to learn, correct? Similar benefit you also have because you know maritime field. You have to just know the law. And for you, my suggestion is you have to opt for certain courses, as Aishwarye rightly suggested, that you can go for a PG diploma. If you have completed your master's, go for your PhD in maritime law. You can have an interdisciplinary PhD also. If you are a master's in some subject, you can go for interdisciplinary. Suppose in Gujarat National Law University, most of the NLUs are having this concept of interdisciplinary sort of a research. What is interdisciplinary research? Interdisciplinary research means that you can have an expertise in engineering or science. You can have a master's degree in science. Say you have, let's say you have a degree in MBA. You have an MBA. Now you want to pursue your master's, but you want to align it with law. So you can have a major portion of management plus the legal aspect of it. And by merging both these aspects, you can deal with the legal field in the management. Similarly, you can deal with maritime. One example I can give you of Commander Anand Kumar. He is Aishwarye's colleague and senior. So in National Maritime Foundation, he is a deputy director there. He is pursuing his PhD from Gujarat National Law University. He is not from law background, but he knows maritime better than anybody else can know. He knows the ships very well, how it works. It's like learning swimming without getting into water, right? So learning maritime law without learning the field aspects, it's very difficult and it's not correct. So you know better, you have a better half of it. Now the second half is there. You can work out somehow. If you want to pursue your PhD, go for it. Interdisciplinary PhD are available. There are few institutes which are not that reputed. Just to get a degree, you can also go for it. I would not say, because your motives are pious. You are not going to get a degree just for the sake of getting it. So you'll properly study that. So you can get any institute which is available, which is providing for interdisciplinary PhD. You can pursue that. So that is one thing. There are many scholars. There are many, even the position of director, you must be aware of it. He was not having any degree in law, just the PhD in law. And he became the VC, Vice Chancellor of an NLU. So it's not that difficult. Don't be hesitant. for opting for maritime legal education just because you are not having any exposure towards law. I know one master mariner, we also know him, Captain Alex Anthony. He is a master mariner, but he is, I think his age is 70 right now, and he is still pursuing. He did LLB in night classes. One more thing, COFOS, that is in Kochi, and NOALS, that is also in Kochi. So these are two institutes, Fisheries University and one more NOALS. So these two institutes are also providing for maritime legal education. But they have to, COFOS is having 2 years LLM in maritime. It's not 1 year LLM. And NOALS is having the undergraduate degree for that, and they have a subject in their UG level. So when you are opting for this, you can do the course. The night course is available for LLB. So he did the same, and after that now he is pursuing his PhD in maritime from IMU Chennai. So this is how you have to pursue the field, and then you will get all the benefits. It's like you are doing your CS and you are doing your law. That is the best combination, right? So this is my suggestion. Whoever is having knowledge of field, don't be hesitant. Go for some courses, get the PhD diploma. If you have enough money, you can definitely go for the courses from LMA, that is Lloyd's Maritime Academy, which is providing for courses. The online diploma courses are available. They are starting from 1.5 lakhs, we can say. Then you can go for WMU courses. They are also giving courses for diploma courses online now. So they are offering online courses also, but they are quite costly, like 6.5. They will start 6.5 lakhs. So if you have money, you go for it. If you don't have money, come to India. We have many institutes which are providing, but you have to give some time for that, and don't be hesitant about it. Thank you. Aishwarye, your turn.
Anubhav, as I understand correctly, you also have seagoing experience. You can be a very good fit for law enforcement agencies, maritime law enforcement agencies, such as those of customs, such as on ports and shipping agents. All sorts of the opportunities are so vast, but the only problem is people don't know. And let me tell you, and each and every person who is there in this meeting, people can connect with me on LinkedIn, because I have a very personal agenda, because I come from a maritime family itself. My father is a marine engineer himself. My brother is a captain. And my uncle is serving as an officer in the Indian Navy. So let me tell you, I've seen those people. I've seen that journey, that once you come on shore, how do you evolve? How do you upgrade your skills? And certainly maritime law is one very crucial aspect which you can learn. And then your employability will increase manifold, either in shipping companies because they also want lawyers, in law enforcement agencies because each and everything that we do is governed by law. And please understand that ports, law enforcement agencies, shipping companies, ship management companies, brokerage firms, charterers, all these people need maritime lawyers. They are fervently looking for it. The only problem is they're looking for people who have that much amount of knowledge. And knowledge comes from training. You already have the training, half of it. That is seagoing experience. Now you just need the law to come along with you. And that is how you will flourish. So can we have the next question?
Yeah, sir. The next question is from Vaishali. She is asking, how can we pursue this course? What is the criteria?
Okay. If I can answer that question in a twofold manner.
Maritime. Any course in maritime, right?
Yeah.
Bachelor course or master's course? Vaishali, if you can clarify that.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. Actually, my question is that recently I'm in a second year LLB course. So my question is when I will able to opt this course and what is the criteria?
Yeah, Aishwarye, please go ahead.
See, whilst you are in second year of law school, you can start learning from open source platforms such as YouTube itself, if you want to. Subsequently, if you want to have a specialized education in your CV, you can go for PG diploma courses. In some cases, they require that you have LLB qualification along with you. In certain cases, they don't require. So that you need to check on the website of Lloyd's Maritime Academy, WMU, International Maritime Law Institute. All these institutions have different specifications. That is one. Second, you need to start learning maritime law in a very basic manner. You are in your second year. First, get your understanding correct of law of contract, law of tort. If you have good hold of these two subjects, mind you, I can guarantee it, you will make a very good maritime lawyer. So these aspects you need to understand. And for other, if you want to know in much more detail, you can connect with us. We are there on LinkedIn. You can connect with us and we'll take it forward, because as you understand, we have a shortage of time and we also have other questions to answer. So we can take it forward from there on.
Yeah, actually, we are running out of time. So the next question is from Soumya Pilani. She asks, how effective is India's foreign policy with respect to developing a sea denial capability?
Ma'am, would you like to answer or should I?
No, you are dealing with the security aspects, so you have to go with it. I like the way she put the question, actually.
Correct.
I'll also contribute. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're audible, yeah.
Who's the person? Yeah.
Soumya Pilani.
Soumya Pilani. Soumya, let me tell you, the country is in safe hands. That's one. When we talk about hard security, which is governed by the Coast Guard and Indian Navy, we are in safe hands. Let me reassure you. One. Second, our own policy, as you might be knowing, that we are coming up with certain new regulations, such as the Merchant Shipping Bill, such as Indian Ports Bill, Major Ports Authority Bill. Now these acts are getting enacted by the Parliament itself. That being said, what you need to understand is we have a foreign policy which is not disclosed in the open. You can only understand from the actions of the government that yes, we do have sea denial capabilities. And one of the most important aspects, or rather fact, is we are a very good shipbuilding nation. We have Mazagon Docks Limited, we have Kochi Shipyard, we have multiple shipyards, Gardenry Shipyard in Kolkata. So all these shipyards are not just building ships for our own Navy and the Coast Guard, they are also exporting it. So whilst you have friendly countries in your neighborhood, such as Sri Lanka, such as Maldives, such as Myanmar, all these countries need to have a very positive outlook towards our own nation. We need to have our own influence on them. Only then, when you have partner nations who are conducive to you, who are not antagonistic towards you, only then can we have a very effective sea denial capability. Why do I say so? Because there's a saying in Hindi, Akela chana bhar nahi porta. You need to have friends. You need to have friends as your neighbors. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, the Honorable Prime Minister of India, said that the biggest fact that we cannot change is that Pakistan is our neighbor. We cannot change that fact. And we have threats arising from the sea. We saw in 26/11. That was a major failure, we understand. And from that day onwards, I still remember it very vividly. I was in class 10th at the point of time. It happened in front of my eyes. And today, at the place where I'm sitting, we, through our own policy initiatives, through advocacy in the National Maritime Foundation, we ensure that all policy inputs that go to the government are very robust, very precise, and they effectively detract any kind of antagonistic people or countries who come within our territorial waters or exclusive economic zones and try to threaten our own internal security. Let me tell you once again, the country is in safe hands. Let me reassure you. But yes, the overarching maritime policy of India is evolving, and it's evolving in the right earnest. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Arman Jeena. The question is, rather than sea denial, India is following Sagar, which is security and growth for all. It is premised on...
Ma'am, Arman, I was just replying to that
question.
That particular, I was just giving my thoughts on that. That was not my question, ma'am. My question is, looking at maritime, so what's the differences between, say, maritime and aviation law if we look at it from a property perspective or like from a transportation perspective?
Aviation, if I could get you correctly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I wanted to understand the common threads between aviation and maritime, and what are the linkages and the divergences if for like someone interested in both these particular niche laws. Thanks.
Ma'am, would you like to say something on that?
Just 2 lines, then you continue with it. See, whenever you are talking about this aviation and all these things, see, laws are there, and maritime law, then we have air and space laws, they are there. We have multimodal transportation laws. As I was discussing in my talk, there is a subject known as carriage of goods by multimodal transport. See, when you are talking about shipping, that's not restricted only to the shipping. For example, I'll just give you one example, then Aishwarye will deal with this question. For example, I'll just give you an example of an illustration sort of. A is a merchant. He's selling his goods from India, and he wants to sell his goods to a person living in Bangladesh or living in Singapore. And his name is B. Now, the merchant has hired a ship for that particular transport. Now, in this transportation, suppose he is living in Lucknow, in India, the merchant. Now, in Lucknow, you don't have a sea, right? You have to take your goods to the ship, the sea, to the port, and for that you have to have the road transport. Then there can be an element of air transport. The goods are there, and you are utilizing that service also. So there are multimodal transportation which are involved in particular transaction. So don't think that this is only one aspect and this is restricted to only shipping. No, there are, and we have laws for it. So that is my point, which I wanted to add to that. Now, Aishwarye, you continue with your answer.
Just to add 2 bits to what Pratikalpa ma'am said, please understand aviation, while it's being considered as a means of transportation, it's quite expensive, let me tell you. And the COVID vaccines, as we just saw, come via the air route, the air freight route. Having said that, it involves a lot of money. It involves a lot of patience. When you talk about aviation law, it's still in its very nascent phase as compared to maritime law. Maritime law is almost in its concretized form now. It's evolving. Maritime legal education and expertise is evolving, but aviation is still in a very nascent stage. People still consider it not very energetically when we talk about air transportation, unless the cargo that is being shipped, that is being transferred or transported, is time sensitive. It is it's very sensitive as compared to certain conditions that need to be met, such as refrigeration, which was there in the case of COVID vaccine. That's one aspect. Second, the operators, the freight operators, the difference is huge. If you talk about maritime operations and maritime industry, the operators are running in thousands. When you talk about air operators, air cargo operators, you can count them on your fingers. So that is the difference we are talking about in terms of employability. So you need to understand that when you take a decision, either maritime law or aviation law, you must be really, really very sure that, okay, if I'm taking it, I should be a master of it. Only then will I be employed in the aviation sector. Maritime, let me tell you, there were 14 students in my batch. Not one is sitting idle currently. That is the employability difference. Aviation, it will take some time to grow, but let's hope and pray that it grows in the right fashion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Just wanted to know one additional aspect regarding two very different two very different things, like tourism and security. So like for a legal scholar to look at security, and also like, as a professional looking at tourism, how do you see aviation and maritime in that regards pertaining to law?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. Let me tell you something. We have coastal tourism coming up. You understand what is coastal tourism? That the coast of India, just a fun fact out here. The amount of area that we have on land, that is the land that we see comprising of India, similar amount of area exists in the sea, which is called Maritime India. 3.8 million square kilometers is the total total geographical area of India in terms of the land area, and similar 3.4 million square kilometers is the water area wherein India has jurisdiction. We are growing maritime tourism, marine tourism, ecotourism. We are collaborating with India. We are collaborating with Sri Lanka, Maldives, Seychelles. We are building it up, ground up. Now it's still in the right phase because the current government is really giving the right impetus and push for maritime tourism to come up. While, what was the other aspect that you were talking about?
So aviation and maritime with relation to security and tourism laws, and the relation of laws with all of this.
Yeah. So we need to understand that whilst we engage in tourism, whether in the aviation sector or in the maritime sector, the right amount of protocols need to be followed. And those protocols, due to paucity of time, I cannot disclose. And also in terms of other aspects, we are not supposed to disclose them. The protocols are there in effect, but there are certain nuances wherein you see that terrorism flourishes through the aviation sector, as well as if somebody wants to enter India, they might just come from Pakistan to Nepal and they can travel to India. That's one aspect. You take a flight to Kathmandu and you can walk on in India through UP. But we also have our security measures in place, wherein our own law enforcement agencies as well as the intelligence agencies keep a track of all these things. So laws come into play when the culprits are caught. That's one. Deterrence, yes. We also have huge amount of deterrence factor to let them stay outside. When you talk about aviation, aviation is a very robust sector. Let me tell you, from the IC 819 hijack that took place in Kandahar. Apart from that, since that time, 99, I suppose, 99, from that day onwards to the current day, we did not have any kind of problem in terms of internal security problems. However, when you talk about different skirmishes that happen, different untoward incidents that happen, we cannot qualify them as terrorist activities or security threats, but yes, they can become threats for the aircraft or the marine craft that is flying and in which that person that either the terrorist element or the antisocial element is there. So laws are there to take care of the deterrence factor as well as to punish, punitive. So all these things interplay, but that depends as to what are the real challenges that are coming up. Currently, aviation sector is not dealing with all these problems. Maritime, yes, we do have stowaways, people jump in onto the ship and they become refugees. They do all sorts of bad activities on the ship. So these are the factors that play in, and that's how it unfolds. Any other questions? Supriya? Or are we done for the day?
Yes, sir. Like, if you guys allow, we can have few more questions.
Hello, sir.
Please,
May I ask a question? Hello.
Yes, who's this?
Yeah, sorry, sir. Like, just a minute. Aditya, you can obviously go ahead, but like, if you can, if you would have raised your hand, it would have been great. But you
Oh,
can go
sorry,
ahead.
madam. Sorry, madam. Sorry, madam. First of all, sir, ma'am, I want to ask you, as I have asked in previous question, I have a financial background and I am currently pursuing my master in law from GMU. So, how can my finance knowledge can help me in my legal career? Is there any places like there in maritime law which can help me in my finance?
I guess Pratikalpa ma'am wants to say something on that.
So you are from a finance background, right? Anubhav, what's your name?
Yes, Aditya. Aditya.
Sorry, Aditya. You are doing what? Master's LLM in Maritime?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you are from a finance background and you are doing a master's. Yeah. So see, these both fields are very much what we can say. They can go hand in hand. Why? Because financial aspects are there in maritime. When you talk about logistics, when you talk about the management aspects, there is about the commercial shipping. Commercial shipping is having a lot of scope. So my suggestion would be that you think about these aspects. And what is your dissertation topic, if I may know?
Ma'am, guideline has been just given
Aditya.
today. My dissertation topic is analysis of functioning of charter market. Can you suggest any better?
Sorry, I could not hear you.
My topic
can
is
you just
analysis
repeat your
of,
topic?
Yeah, ma'am. I'm repeating. Analysis of functioning of charter market is my topic for dissertation.
I think that's a good topic for
Hello?
you because it is dealing with the. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You're audible.
Yeah. So this is a good topic for you because it is dealing with financial aspects, and you can deal with the aspects of insurance as well if you want to do something in that.
Okay, ma'am. You can suggest me better if you can.
Because if you have the knowledge of finance and you have the knowledge of insurance, marine insurance, that will be an added advantage. So you can work in that line as well. These are a few things which you can work upon. A good topic, you can go with it.
Thank you very much, madam.
See, whenever you are doing your masters, do remember one thing. When you are pursuing your masters, I always suggest the students who are pursuing their LLM, until and unless you are done with your PhD, your dissertation is the face of research for you. So that will be the highlight of your CV. So don't ignore this, because I know what is happening in JMU. So take it quite seriously, make it nicely, so that, and one more thing is that you can anytime convert your dissertation topic into your PhD. So be a little cautious about it. Prepare it, because it's a mini PhD what you're doing right now with your dissertation. So do it nicely, do it diligently, and it will help you in a long way. Because whenever you will go for a job perspective, you can ask Mr. Aishwarye also. There are scholars, even with me as well, when I was appointed, there were questions on my dissertation, because they can judge you on that research, that how serious you are about your research work and what sort of a person you are. So whatever your topic, do it nicely, do it diligently.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you, madam.
Welcome. Any other question or?
So as we are running out of time, so we'll be taking up only one question now. So if you have, anyone can unmute and ask.
Oh, that's a good option.
Hi, ma'am. Hi. I guess I would reiterate the question which she asks. I hope I pronounced the name correctly. So she asked like whether you could address like the question, how does cyber law interplay with maritime law? I guess that's a good question. So if you could kindly answer that, please.
Who's this?
I guess Vamshi asked that question. If I'm correct.
No, who's reading this question?
I'm Shaswata.
Oh, Saswat. Okay,
Hi.
nice to meet you on this platform.
Nice to meet you too, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, it's a good question. Aishwarye, you want to say something, or I should start? Okay. Yeah, it's a good question. See, cyber law is. I'll not deal, because it's a very deep topic, and maritime and cyber laws are connected in the digitalized. You just think logically, Shaswat specifically for you. When you are dealing with law, you have to use your logic. Apply your mind. Suppose I'm just giving you an example. For example, are you aware of this thing, what you call underwater cables, submarine cables, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Submarine cables are there, and our ships are being automated these days. AI is coming in picture. Now, the ship is crossing through that particular area where these what you call the cables are there. If somebody catches the information through, it's not that difficult to catch the information from where you can get it and deal with it. Just give me 1 minute. There is somebody on my door, so I have to go, and I'm coming quickly.
Yes, Saswata, let me continue from where she left. I can tell you about something which is very practical. I'm also pursuing a course from the World Maritime University on maritime cybersecurity. That's one. Maritime operates through ships and ports, correct? Okay. When you're building smart ports, when the port authorities are directly talking to ships on the internet, IoT platforms, then you need to have cyber mechanisms which ensure that the whole process is very watertight. One, when you have autonomous shipping coming into the picture, you might be very well aware. You are an alumnus from University of Essex, I believe. So all these factors are coming slowly into play because the technology is improving. Now the law has to catch up. When the law is catching up, then you also need to understand that there will come a time where they will run into each other. That's where maritime cybersecurity comes into the picture, where it will be a deterrent factor. Maritime cyber laws, they are really coming up now, so to speak. So when ports are directly interacting with the cargo container ships, bulkers, liquid cargo, all these things need to be understood that AIS is there. Even different PSSs are there. So when a ship is controlled, being controlled by the satellite uplink, if that uplink is misused and the infrastructure, that is the cyber infrastructure of the shipping company, is hacked into, then it can run amok. Say, for example, there is a tanker which is going in the Red Sea, and it is struck, and it runs aground and starts spilling oil. The whole coastline of that any country where it's stuck, it you know, the loss is humongous, not just to the coastline, not just to the people who are concerned in the maritime transaction, but also to the people who are in the fisheries business, who are there in the aquatic industries, so to speak. So all these factors are coming into the picture. You might be aware of the MV Vakashio incident. The investigation is still ongoing. There are allegations that the ship ran aground because of different factors, which are maybe cyber, maybe hacking, maybe different kinds of problems that were coming up. So one needs to understand that it's happening behind the scenes. It's so very overt that it's covert. People think, oh, we do not need maritime cybersecurity. Kya karenge uska? No, that's not the case. When uplinks are being handled, when everything is handled on the internet, when ports are talking to the ships directly, ships are running on autonomous mode, then it's a real threat. And cyber laws are coming into the picture. That's why even the World Maritime University, International Maritime Organization, let me tell you, in the month of November, the International Maritime Organization website was hacked. Do you recall that incident? It was hacked and everything was brought to a standstill. That is the exact reason why IMO is pressing so much amount of effort for maritime cybersecurity. And let me tell you, give us 3 years, you will see the difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think he answered the question, and I to tell you that example. So yeah, cyber laws are very significant while studying, because digitalized world is there with us, and due to COVID, we have done so much in the field of digitalization, and now we are running this session through online. We are connected, we are running classes, we are doing so many things through online platforms, which we never thought about due to COVID. So this accelerated the development of digitalization, we can say. Digital world is there, and when digital world is there, it will affect every aspect of life. Maritime is going to be affected severely, and if we don't have cyber laws in place, then it can be very dangerous. I think Maersk also had some issues related to cyber related issues. There are numerous examples. You can search on that. There are numerous examples. See the transaction when we talk about AI and blockchain and these things. I was giving example of blockchain back bill of lading. If we are having this thing or the AI in ships, so if it is being utilized, technology is there, then cyber crime, they become more cyber crime prone area, right? When they are digitalized, or more developed in terms of technology, then they are becoming more prone towards the cyber crimes. Now, I hope you understand the relationship between these two laws. That's why we need to change the laws. IMO is working in the field of changing all the conventions which are there. STCW needs to get amended. There are so many changes in almost all the dimensions. How will you deal with these cyber threats? How will you deal with the AI? How will you deal with the different aspects of a digitalized world? Because our laws are old, right? So all the aspects are connected. So digitalization is something, no aspect of life will be untouched by this. Cyber laws will be there. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Good question, by the way. Thank you. Vamsi asked this question. Good question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for answering. Thank you so much, sir, for answering all the questions. It was truly insightful session with countless takeaways. Your knowledge and experience added immense value to the session. I hope you had an equally amazing time interacting with the participants. Once again, thank you so much, sir, and thank you, ma'am, taking out time from your busy schedule to enlighten us. To end with, I would like to quote Miss Oprah Winfrey. She says, "Forget about the fast lane. If you really want to fly, harness your power to your passion. Honor your calling. Everybody has one. Trust your heart and your success will come to you." So thank you so much for attending this webinar. I would like to make an announcement that participants are kindly requested to stay back for a minute in order to know the procedure for availing the certificates.
Thank you, ASDM Legal, for inviting the two of us. It was truly a pleasure. And I speak on behalf of Pratikalpa ma'am and myself. And we hope that we can take the dream of Maritime India forward into the right earnest. Ma'am, would you like to say anything? Last parting word?
Yeah, you said so much. That was really very nicely said, actually. It was a good session. I always like to talk to the people who are really interested in the maritime, even though I don't have much knowledge of maritime. It's just 1% I know. And that's the reality. I'm not kidding. Because I have never had an experience to learn maritime. From where I should learn? In India, we hardly have institutes who are providing education. So this is your zeal, this is your love for the subject that will drive you. So learn this. This is really a good subject. I hope I have me and Aishwarye, we both have done something good to the field of maritime, because we need good lawyers in maritime field. We need judges, good arbitrators, good workers in the legal field of maritime, practitioners. Please do something. And if you like this subject, nothing like this. Thank you so much for inviting, and thank you, ASDM Legal. It's a new platform for me, and it's good. Whatever you are doing, you're connecting the legal minds. That's good, and you're giving a platform to them. There's nothing like that if you are connecting the brains through this such platforms, and generate some energy from there, and you can reach wherever you want. You can help many people in this way. So thank you for that, and congratulations for this achievement, that you have a vast student base there, which might be very helpful for you. And again, wish you all a happy Indian Maritime Day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, sir.